I'm gonna keep it a buck. I don't want to see a brother get knocked out in front of everybody. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't want to see that. I'll be honest with you. I don't want to see that. You can say that, man.
In this corner, standing at 6'5", weight class unknown, but hailing from the city of sin, put your hands together for Jamieson Welsh. And in this corner, standing at 5'10", weighing in at pounds, and coming to us from his super secret bunker with no AC in Tucson, Arizona, put your hands together for Luis Montemayor.
Thank you and welcome back to another episode of Mixed Company Podcast. Of course, I'm one half of the show, Jamieson Welsh, and joined by Luis. Luis, what's going on, man?
Wow, Jamieson, you know what? Right before we got onto the microphone, you shared a video of Terrence Bud Crawford announcing his retirement from boxing. Literally, this is, if I look at the timestamp on this, he posted it 40 minutes ago from when we started recording. So, yeah, absolute breaking news. Last episode, we did talk about the fact that Canelo versus Crawford 2 was going to happen. There was a little bit of nothing official, and there was even an article I read where Bud was like, hey, man, whatever Canelo said is news to me. So I was actually planning to come on here and talk about whether the fight was, how likely the fight was or not. But it looks like it's off. Bud Crawford is walking away into the sunset, 42-0. One of the best boxers of this generation, pound for pound king. Just cannot say enough about what a great fighter, talented fighter, and a star he is. So yeah, I just want to see what your thoughts are. This is all right off the top of my head because, like I said, we just found this out.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where if you walk off with like this, where you have the perfect ending in a sense, why mess it up? If you have enough money, if you're good with your money, there's no crazy child support or alimony or tax issue, then why fight unless you have to? Now, it also could be a ploy to where, hey, I'm going to retire once I get my number. So he wants 100 million, 150 million. I can see that being a ploy. Say, hey, you know what? Unless I get this number, I don't really need to do this again. So if y'all going to come correct, cool. If not, oh well. So I can see that being part of it. But also, he's up there in age. He also knows his body better than we do. So he knows what's at stake. He knows how things go. Outside of the money, there's really nothing else he can do in boxing. There's no one else for him to beat. There's no one else out there. Can't go to 175 and fight Benavidez. That just don't make sense. So I get where he's coming from. I get it. And going out on top is better than going out the other way. So I get it. I understand, but it's boxing. I don't take anything for its face value because we know enough about boxers these days where, hey, we know one way or another, guys have retired and come back within 6 months before. So nothing will surprise me. But if this is then for Bud, hell of a fighter, one of the best ever, probably the best, definitely the best after Floyd for sure. Is one of the few guys to where I wish we would have saw more because he was with Top Rank for so long, and Top Rank didn't market their guys as they should have. He should have been a bigger star, even though he's from Nebraska. He should have been a bigger star than he was, but still, hell of a fighter, hell of a career, hell of a way to go out if this is indeed the way he went out.
Yeah, and I'm taking this. Let's say I'm taking this seriously because you never know what could happen. But also the same way, yeah, people retire, unretire, and hey, he has a lot of money, but people can always go broke. Rick James was rich, but you can always come back like a Manny Pacquiao needing to pay the tax man. So, but let's just say, yeah, for the discussion's sake, that he is going out and he's not going to fight again. I think it's understandable. You and I have also spoken about the fact that he's getting up there in age, and we've been talking about his retirement like for the last couple episodes, like when that's going to happen. It wasn't a matter of if, and it's when and probably how soon. The only thing that bums me out is that we missed out on Bud Crawford, the star, the draw, now that he beat Canelo. There's been many conversations I had from time to time with people that find out, like, I like boxing. They asked me about my favorite fighters. I mentioned Bud Crawford, and I got blank stares, and I had to tell them, one of the best to do, can do pretty much everything well, Thing about fighting that I learned about sparring, which is not the same, but it made me realize that not very many people are good at everything. If you're really strong, maybe you're not that fast. If you've got good defense. Maybe you're not always a good counter puncher. Blah blah blah. You got a lot of speed, but maybe not a lot of power, et cetera, et cetera. And I would tell people he's one of those guys who can do it all. He's got the speed, he's got the power, he's got the footwork, he's got the ring IQ. He's a switch hitter, for God's sake. Like, just kind of a miracle fighter, honestly.
Yep.
One of those people, like, I always go back to Mike Tyson being under 6 feet tall, being a heavyweight, under 6 feet tall, and moving like a little guy fighting 200 plus pound dudes. Just a rare specimen, I guess you'd say. And but it was like that, and it was always really nice being able to tell people what the skills the guy has, what he brought to the table. And yeah, very few people knew who that was, just in casual conversation at bars. I'm not saying anything like anything legit or official, but yeah, that's the only bummer for me, is that what was the household name Bud Crawford career going to be like? And we missed out, but hey.
In an era where we don't have a lot of superstars in general in sports, he was one of them, and we didn't get the full-fledged opportunity to see that. We didn't get the, Bud's fighting. We need to go do this. We need to go barbecue for this. We need to go out for this. We didn't get that. We didn't get the full press tour. We didn't get to know a lot about his family life and whatnot, even though it's really none of our business. But when you become a superstar, it is our business in a sense. We didn't get any of those opportunities, unfortunately. So it sucks in that regard. However, it's one of those things to where he went out his way, and I can respect that. If this is really indeed the end, he went out his way. He won the fight, and he's like, "Hey, I'm comfortable with going out, and I'd rather boxers go out like this than the other way." So it's okay to me.
100%, yeah. So I've said it before myself that a lot of fighters get high on their own supply, and they just keep going past the expiration date. I really. I think it's very exciting for fans of boxing to discover a new name they hadn't known was there the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm glad he got that moment, I guess is what I'm trying to say. That he had to experience of being in the spotlight and having a lot of people saying, "Holy shit, this guy, like, he's been fighting this whole time. We didn't really get to know him." So at least he was able to go out in the highest possible high, I guess we would say.
Right.
So that's cool. I was getting a little, it's like, I was watching that video. So if y'all go on Bud's YouTube channel, the full video is on there. It's like the announcement and him thanking, fans, opponents, family, etc., management. Man, I was at the end like, whoo, is it getting like hot in Arizona? My eyes are a little sweaty. Oh boy. So yeah, I don't really know what there's much else to say. I was on record as saying I wanted Canelo versus Crawford 2 because I wanted just to see them back in the ring together. I admitted we didn't need it. We did not need that fight. I was just looking forward to it. So I'll say that, like, it's not a big loss to the sport that we didn't get the rematch, because we got that first fight. It was incredible. That moment, you can't recreate it. So yeah, I mean, just mad respect to Bud.
No, I agree. Again, most times guys have to fight until it's too late because they're broke. So I'm glad he's, the opposite. I don't think guys really enjoy fighting as they get older. I think they fight because they have to, not because they want to. So if he's bowing out at the top of his game, more power to him.
That's a very good point. Yeah, that's the saddest thing to see, is when someone's heart is just not in it, and they had. I mean, that Tyson fight before he, I forget who he fought, when he just got kind of humiliated. He said, "I just didn't care. I just had to be here for the paycheck." Mm-hmm. We don't want to see Bud turn out like that.
Nah, man, I don't want to see anyone like that, to be honest with you.
Anyway, yeah.
I really don't like, even the boxers I don't like. Like, if Anthony Joshua has to fight until he's 45, I don't really want to see him struggling. I'm not a fan of his, but I don't want to see any of those types struggling.
That's fair. And when I like to always bring it back to the fact that, these people are putting their lives on the line, getting into that ring every time. Doesn't matter how young you are, fit you are, how good you are. It's always dangerous. It's a very dangerous sport. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I want all boxers to retire happy, fulfilled, and being able to pay the bills.
Right.
Except Jay Paul, he can go to hell. Okay. Let's see. Well, then let's get into the meat of the show that we were going to do before this news came out. Just a couple of recaps of the last couple of weeks. Let's go to the finest source in boxing news, the Boxing Gazette, brought to you by our sponsor, Delightful Smoke Shop in Tucson, Arizona. open 7 days a week. Make sure you stop by for some goodies and hoodies. Located at 6217 East 22nd Street. So Lamont Roach fought Pitbull Cruz a couple weekends ago. Lamont Roach has been all over the show. He had another draw, just like he did against Tank Davis. He at the end of it, he was very frustrated. Just said he just wanted a fair shot. Both guys thought they won the match. Let's start here. Davis, did you think that result was fair or not?
Man, so whenever there's a close fight, if it ends in a draw, it's not the end of the world, right? I think that's the thing people got to realize. If you had it anywhere between, if you had a 7-5 either way, then it could be a draw. When it's 8-4 or above, then it's like, all right, we were kind of splitting hairs. But if it's 7-5 either way, I really can't be mad. I'm mad to draw, but I can't mad at the result. I mean, it is what it is. Like sometimes somebody can't win. That's just how it go. Ain't nothing you can do about that. I just think that's just how it went. I think he has more beef in the first fight that he got drawn than this one, to be honest with you. The first fight he should have won with the knockdown stuff and everything that took place and all that. He has a bigger beef in that one. This one is what it is. I mean, at the same time, though, you are Lamont Roach. You are the guy that is not selling the fight. So you need to knock guys out. You got to finish the show. You cannot rely on the cards going forward because the cards have proven they've been unkind to you. So you need to make some adjustments and go for the kill shot if it's there. And hopefully he's able to do that going forward.
Yeah, as I was watching the fight, and I didn't really have a strong prediction either way, but like about halfway through, maybe let's say around like, I don't know, 9, I was like, oh shit, this could potentially be a draw. Like I really thought that, and I'm not saying just to to be like, oh, I knew what was going to happen, blah blah blah. Like
you can't tell how fight's going. You can't tell, like, hey, like, you have a good sense of things.
I thought I was like, holy shit, is he going to walk out with another draw after what happened? And it's true. So now here's what I really wanted to say that I think is a big deal that we have to always remember is that Lamont Roach was not the guy that was supposed to win either fight against Tank Davis or Pitbull Cruz. Like nobody knew he was. Nobody cared about you and I. We have said on the show, on record, nobody gives a shit about Tank versus Roach before that.
No. And
but Lamont Roach,
he's now named. He's in a position to make a lot of money next year and going forward. He's got to close the show. I mean, here's the thing. When you have the name he has, you can't leave it to the judges. You just can't. Like, it sucks, but you can't. Like, you just can't do that. So going forward in the training camp, you got to make adjustments to make sure that when fights are close, you close the show late so this don't happen.
Yes, and we also definitely have to give him credit for being a dude who I guess was a disruptor and a fly in the ointment, whatever you want to say, against two very aggressive, talented, big name fighters with a lot of skills. Like they could not put him down. They couldn't decisively even beat him unanimously by decision either. So that is a big deal. This guy's not just a delicate flower of a man. He went out there and he got to work. So, yes, he did say at the end of the fight, it's back to the drawing board, and you were correct. Sometimes you can't just wait on the judges. But he definitely deserves credit for getting in that ring and just two guys with very particular styles that overwhelm their opponents and both knockout artists. He took that shit in stride. And, my hat's off to Lamont Roach. And he's also not, he's 30, so he's not an old man, but also can be a senior citizen in boxing. So he definitely has a lot more fights ahead of him if he wants to keep going, but he's got to take this opportunity and run with it of being the guy that did not get knocked out by either Pitbull or Tank Davis.
I mean, he's had a hell of a year, all things considered. I mean, his career is way different now. He's probably making 7 figures on Fight Night now, which is great. So that's cool. It's just more about taking the next step if the next step's there to be taken. If his skill set and his body allows him to take the next step, then he's going to be all right. Are they running this one back, or are we still undecided yet?
They said they were interested in running it back, but there's nothing official.
Okay. That'd be cool. I wouldn't be opposed to that.
It was a good fight. It was a very good fight. Yeah. Pitbull Cruz is a very active fighter. He doesn't dilly-dally in the ring. And Lamont Roach, too, has proven to be good defense. And he appears to me, from watching him, he's a dude who, like I said, disrupts the other fighters' plans. Like he can take the punishment. Uh, he's not caught unawares by his opponent. So he's a smart fighter for sure. And yeah, I want to see him in the ring again as fast as possible, and I want to see him get better. He fought two of the best names out there, the biggest names out there. Iron sharpens iron, so hopefully he learns from that. And I just want to see what he does with this opportunity to have been laughed off or brushed off or whatever, myself included. I'm part of the problem. But yeah, man, I really hope that we get the Cruz rematch and just see what he can do. I don't know. He's got a lot of potential, and he looked really good in that ring. That's another thing too. Like he
looked very good. He was prepared. Yeah, but I mean, how both guys look good. But Roach looked prepared. He looked like he was ready to make a name for himself, and I think that's a good thing coming off a successful fight. Previously, a lot of times guys come off the fight he came off of, and they get full of themselves because they fought a good fight, and they all fall flat because they've been reading the press clippings. He did not look like that. I think the best thing for him going forward is to put together another good fight going forward and keep it moving because he has a future in the sport. Biggest thing for him is just getting the one magical decision to go his way or the one big knockout to go his way. And then next thing you know, he's fighting really big fights and everything changes from there. So we'll see. But also, here's the thing, too. There's no more boogeyman in the 147 division anymore. Like, there's no one. But, up until September, Crawford was a guy at 154, 147. Hey, I stay away from this guy. I stay away from this guy. 141. There's no more of that no more. There's no one that's like, oh, we got to stay away from him or that's the guy. Well, no, there's none of that no more. And Tank being Tank, not being, around, he's not the guy either. So now we look at Shakur Stevenson as basically the number one guy left. That's kind of the number one guy. We'll see in about a month and a half. We'll see what he's about and see what he can do when he's favored on a big night for everybody watching. I think he will be victorious, but we'll see. But yeah, a lot has changed in the year. A lot. At the beginning. This time last year, Tank was basically the face of boxing. And man, that's changed. That's changed a lot.
Yeah, no, that's a excellent point. I just pulled up while you were talking, pulled up the rankings here. I'm looking at names of like Boots Ennis, Rolly Romero at 147, Devin Haney, he's had his resurgence. But yeah, in terms of the guy, the biggest name on this list was Terence Crawford. So yeah, I mean, you got a couple of these, couple of Britishes here, Irishes, Jack Catterall, Connor Benn. But yeah, in terms of like the star to beat, it's kind of everything was thrown into everything became very tumultuous here at this fight, at this weight class. What I'm trying to say. Interesting. Well, let's see what happens. So either way, respect to Roach for holding his own in the ring twice now. And here's let's get into this. Yeah, yes, he should have won that last Tank fight. However, Tank took a knee, which should have been counted as a knockdown. Should have been taking a point off of him. However, let's assume the Tank was telling the truth that he was getting hair grease in his eye and he needed
to
wiped out. Doesn't matter.
It needs me.
Doesn't matter. You're right. But in an alternate universe, his Tank was just bald or whatever, and that didn't happen. I mean, it would have still been a draw in terms of the actual boxing style or the quality of the fight. You know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
So yes, he should have won, and yes, it doesn't matter why you take a knee. If you stop fighting for any reason in those 3 minutes and the referee didn't stop the fight, that's on you. That's what your job is to stay on your feet for 3 minutes at a time.
Right.
But the point I'm trying to make is that hopefully Lamont Roach learns from that, because if Tank didn't take that knee at all, it would have been a legitimate draw on the cards.
Which is still a great outcome for him, though. Remember, he was a heavy underdog.
100%. So all I'm saying is that, take that into account going forward. Lamont Roach, are you listening? And yeah, start figuring out how to get the knockout, how to get the KO before the end of the bell. We gotta talk to some more boxers, because like I don't know how you even train yourself to be better at knocking people out. I mean, be aggressive, but like I don't know. I've never actually done that.
Knockout artists. How many knockout artists do we have?
Yeah, I mean, Bud and Tank. Let's see, Canelo hasn't been in a while.
Benavidez,
Benavidez, yes, Benavidez, definitely. Can't forget our boy.
kind of boots, kind of,
Mhm.
but we haven't really seen him fight anyone
Yeah.
like really worthy, like to be really to
Right.
test that theory out. But in a lot of other fights, he's been, but whatever, right?
Better be if.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
yeah, so
yeah.
I'm really curious if I was a boxer and I'd be like, I want to really increase my ability to knock people out, knockout power. Like, how do you train that? I have no clue. But
It
yeah,
got to
we'll
be
just
in you.
gotta.
That's what that has to be in you. You also have to have power in both hands. I think
Sure.
you have to have knockout power in both hands. So I think that's a big thing, and not everybody is blessed to have that. So it's pretty fascinating.
Yeah, I don't know anything about that. All I know is that I counted like during sparring 3 different dudes on separate occasions hit the mat when I was sparring them, and I never hit one. So I felt like Bud walking away from that, from sparring and never being put down. Even though I was never good at it, mind you. I was never good at sparring. Uh, let's
I
see what we got
understand.
here. Okay, moving on to another fight. This is an episode in which I very much confess to being the problem on a lot of things. So we talked last episode about how Benavidez is moving to cruiserweight because he's not getting the fights he needs, that he wants. He's making a name for himself, fighting bigger guys, blah blah blah. I said that there wasn't really a lot of cruiserweights that I knew. And then last
Mm-hmm.
Saturday there was a cruiserweight fight that I missed because I didn't
Oh,
realize.
we both missed it. So that's the thing. We're not getting no marketing with the like, bro. There's no nothing. No email, no nothing.
I didn't know, and I wanted to get your take on it. Is it just because people just in general don't care about cruiserweight as a weight class? Because
So
it was Badou
December's a rough
Jack.
month. December's a rough month for sports in
That's
general.
fair.
'Cause everybody's out. Like right now, people are off work till the end of the year. If it's not being heavily marketed, if it's not a big fight, people not paying attention. Like, dog, it's the worst month for TV in general this month. People are traveling, people are off work, people are not paying attention. So all these things are going on. And if it's a fight that people aren't like all the way locked in on, yeah, good luck.
Well, and what's crazy is that I was at home watching TV. I could have I was channel surfing and they were showing all 3 Hobbit movies on HBO, and I was like, I don't even like those movies, but I'm like, oh, let me give them a fair shake. I would get up to get a snack. I wouldn't pause. I would, go in and out, and I
Mm-hmm.
would have much rather watched the goddamn boxing match than those movies.
Right,
Honestly, I love the Lord of the Rings trilogy, but the Hobbit movies, I'm like, I wanted to give
right.
him a fair shake, but anyway, Badou Jack and Norair Mikaelian. It was their rematch over the weekend. So I actually
Right.
remember the first one because it was Cinco de Mayo weekend this year.
Yep.
They were on the Canelo card, Canelo versus William Skull.
Mm-hmm.
And they were actually they were a good fight. They were active, energetic, exciting fight. If you remember, Cinco de Mayo weekend was mostly a dud this year.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Another thing that I've messed up here a couple of times. Cinco de Mayo was the ring Times Square bullshit where they put a ring
Yeah.
in the middle
Yeah.
of New York.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had said like a couple episodes ago, it's like, oh, it was July 4th, and I messed up. I know, my bad. The memories first thing to go when you get old. But yes, that was Cinco de Mayo weekend when we had that terrible Devin Haney fight. Rolly Romero beat Ryan Garcia, and Canelo fought William Skull, also a very boring fight. So Badou Jack and Norair Mikaelian was actually a good fight that weekend. And then, of course, Sunday was May 5th, and we had Naoya Inoue in Vegas, which was awesome. So he saved that weekend. But the point is that I actually would have been interested to see them run it back.
Yeah.
I just didn't know that this was happening on Saturday,
And no one talked about
and
it. There's
no one
no
talked about it.
post.
Yeah.
I didn't see nothing on Instagram, Twitter, nothing. So what can you do?
Yeah. So it's my theory. Yes, you were correct that December's a rough time and people are doing stuff, but yeah, there's no big cruiserweight names out there that I can think of as a draw. I mean, like I said, Benavidez is fighting Zurdo Ramirez, and Zurdo Ramirez fought Bivol, but he went down to light heavyweight to do that.
Right.
So Benavidez sorry, Bivol just stayed where he was. So there was no, and I remember that fight was was heavily marketed because it was after Bivol beat Canelo, and that was his next fight. So people were paying attention. But again, nobody's paying attention to damn cruiserweight. So I don't know. It's really interesting to see what to see if Benavidez makes any headway into making cruiserweight exciting next year.
Yep.
But yeah, that's what happened the last couple of weeks. Let's talk a little bit about what's coming up going forward. So yet again, we usually need to make a list of the things that I either forgot or got wrong, because I was talking about wanting to see Devin Haney versus Ryan Garcia again. And I completely missed the news that actually Ryan Garcia is going to be fighting Mario Barrios in February. That's already, yeah. Did you know about that?
I found out, when you said, I didn't know about it till recently. But it makes sense. It makes sense.
Yeah, it's actually it was announced a couple weeks ago. It fell through the cracks, so we could have added to the show notes. I just didn't realize it. But yeah, Mario Barrios, if y'all remember, he was last seen fighting and coming to a draw again against Manny Pacquiao. Some people would even say that Manny Pacquiao won that fight. I was okay with the draw, honestly, based on what I saw. I wouldn't say it was like highway robbery or anything like that. But yeah, I mean, Ryan Garcia just kind of we keep going back and forth on where he should be in his career. You know, he was a star, but he kind of was up to antics, and I don't even know what to say about the guy. Like, is he still a star? Is he still a draw? Are people still interested in seeing him fight? Does he still have, a big fan base? I don't know. I don't know. How do you personally see him? Just your opinion. Doesn't even have to be,
So here's the thing. He fought Haney. It'll be almost 2 when he fights again. It's basically 2 years since he fought. It's a long time for a guy to not be in action. We're gonna see how big his star is. Cause I know he's big on social media, but when you're gone for so long and you haven't done anything productive, basically, like I just don't really take him seriously. Like, it's hard to take somebody seriously. Doesn't really do much, and like we talk about him in non-boxing ways. Like, that's the thing. We don't take him seriously. Like, his last big fight was the Haney one, where it was basically a no contest. So, with that being said, no, I don't take him seriously. I honestly think that it's going to be kind of a dud because he hasn't done anything worthwhile. And we talk about everything about him except boxing. We talk about everything else. We talk about all the social media shenanigans, all the out the ring stuff. It's never about the fighting itself. So whenever it's guys like that, I'm always weary of guys like that, because what are they fighting for? What are you in this for? Are you in this for the fame, or are you in this for the actual love of the sport? And to me, it feels like a guy that's in it for the fame, and I just don't know, man. I don't trust him. I don't trust him to be sharp for this fight. I just don't. I don't see it.
It's hard to root for a guy like that. Absolutely. I mean, it seems to be that he's happy being famous for being famous, I guess you'd say, having a social media cloud and being out there and getting into shenanigans. And if boxing can support that, maybe that's why he's doing it. Again, it's just speaking, just my opinion, is how I see him. But at the end of the day, yeah, we're not really saying anything about how great of a fighter he is, about his legacy, about anything like that. It's all, how much does he actually care about getting into the ring? He's a talented fighter, and he's very, very powerful in the ring. He's a knockout artist. He can catch somebody with a good power shot, and it's a good night. So definitely, he's got that skill. He's got that God-given power in him.
But if he fights like he did versus Rolly, I don't want to. I purposely left that fight out because that fight was so bad that I didn't even put that on him. That whole event was weird, so I didn't even include that. But his last good showing was a no contest.
Right.
Take that for what it's worth.
Yeah, that was July 2024, and then he had the 1-year suspension because he popped for performance enhancers. They came back Cinco de Mayo this year. I actually think Rolly did well in that fight. Like
he did, but that fight was what it was. The whole environment around it. But Ryan Garcia is unserious. If Ryan Garcia ever gets serious, then we talk about him differently. But until then, he is known as an unserious boxer, and we gotta treat him as such. And we'll see what happens. But he's another guy where if he loses this fight, We talking about 5 p.m. and earlier with him. It's another
Yes,
guy
but
where hey, like I remember the days. I'll remember back when he was this and that. It's gonna be that because even though boxing doesn't have the amount of stars it used to have, when you start losing, there ain't no room for you. Somebody will take your spot. Somebody will take the next step, and he's a loss away. You can't go no contest, loss. When you do that, you're not headlining shit. You're not even the second fight on the card. You start getting knocked before the TV starts rolling. Not good. Not good.
yes, that is always a possibility. What is also a possibility is the thing that we did, and I'll say again, mostly me with Haney, is that I was like, "Is this the last we're going to hear in this cloud?" And then he comes back strong. So you know what? Now I know not to straight up say
you know what,
that.
though? We got to put that pressure on because here's the thing: if they don't fight like their careers on the line, then we will accept bullshit performances. So when they know, hey, I need to get together or else, better get together because here's the thing. Here's the situation. My thing is this. If you don't take your career seriously, why should I?
100%.
If you don't take your career seriously, if you don't have the urgency in your career, then why should I care? That's how I look at it like. So for me, I'm like, okay, well, we'll see what we got because eventually it's put up or shut up. Eventually it's, hey, man, figure it out because this ain't it. Like this, you can't be lackluster. And also, who is Ryan Garcia really beat?
Not off the top of my head, not really. I mean, yeah, he was mostly known. You know, a big deal was made about his comeback when he took some time away. He said he had mental health issues, etc. And actually, remember his big. I don't remember who he fought, but it was enough of a big deal that I went to see that fight in the movie theater. Like they played it in theaters here, which was cool. It was awesome. He did fight Tank, yeah. But you didn't ask who he fought. You said who he beat.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So like,
looking at the opponents, it really ain't really impressive.
Well, okay. Let me put this question back at you. So, where did his fame really come from? I mean, he's definitely, like I said, a skilled fighter, but I haven't seen anything from him just because he's like. Here's another thing: I don't follow him on social media. I don't give a shit. I never have.
That's where it comes from. The social media is where it comes from. The being on Golden Boy with Oscar constantly pubbing him. A lot of stuff comes from that. So, yeah, that's
so it is. So it is. It is that then. It's not that he was been such a talented, amazing fighter that the world takes notice. It's more that he's just on there doing stupid shit, and like people enjoy following that.
That is correct.
Yeah. I've kind of gone back and forth on whether I even care about him fighting. In the last couple of years, the Tank fight was very exciting, and I was stoked for that. Like. I went out for that. Big crowd came out, and it was a great time. It was a great fight. But I think it was very clear that as long as Ryan fights somebody with at least a decent amount of ring IQ, like he's cooked. He doesn't have those. Yeah, he can't counter somebody like Tank.
No adjustments, no plan B, C, nothing. Like it's nothing.
Right. So, I don't know. I would put money on Mario Barrios. I think he's a talented fighter. He's got the skills that could potentially stop a Ryan Garcia. But again, if he lands a really, really strong punch, I mean, it only takes one. It only takes one punch to close out a fight. But we'll see. That's happening in February. So we've got Shakur and Teo January, Ryan Garcia returning in February. And then we're just kind of waiting to see what Devin Haney is doing. So those are those smaller, like mid-weight guys there, is what we're expecting. So another news, moving up to weight class, Alexander Usyk showed signs of life. He said he wants to fight Deontay Wilder next year. I thought that I had made a point that it seems like a lot of the Eastern European boxing names are on their way out. Alexander Usyk got his big win against Fury in the second fight, and he'd just been quiet. Like, unless I missed anything, I heard crickets. So I was like, is he retiring? Is he thinking of hanging it up? But I don't know. I mean, I've always liked Deontay. Never the best fighter. We've said that, sure, many times. But part of it, too, is the nostalgia of like a Black American heavyweight. star, which he was a name, he was a draw. But I don't know. I mean, what is the state of the heavyweight class when the current biggest star Usyk is fighting a guy who hasn't really even been active since like 2023?
Well, it's been good in like 5 years. I think that's the biggest issue. Like Deontay Wilder hasn't been good in almost 6 years, actually. I think that's a bigger question. But people will tune in if he's fighting. I think that's the big thing, right? If you're trying to sell fights, Wilder's name will get the casual eyeballs on a fight if it's marketed halfway decently. That's the thing. Right now, Usyk really can't fight anybody else and get American eyeballs to watch. I think that's probably the biggest issue. So that's why you hear his name being floated at this time.
Yeah, I mean, are you personally, would you be interested in seeing this fight? Would you be excited for it, or was it like
no? Because Wilder's cooked. Like that's the thing. I like watching fights when there's there's some decency of the fight where the fight is in the balance, where we know, hey, both guys can win. I don't see that here. Like Deontay Wilder is so far beyond his prime, even though during his prime he was heavily flawed. So now you're asking a guy that's about to be damn near 40 fight someone that is really good. I just don't see it. Like I don't. I'm gonna probably watch, but I'm not gonna be happy about it.
Sure, I'll watch it again. I'll watch pretty much anybody fight. But yeah, in terms of like, there's no. At least Fury was like a gigantic just slab of meat that would give somebody trouble to to put down, or like, and he was talented enough, moved well enough. So that was at least competitive. I can't see Wilder putting up anything against Usyk, another guy with not really a lot of game plans. Great power. Mm-hmm. Definitely, he could catch. Here's the thing. If you get caught with a Deontay Wilder power shot, it doesn't matter how good you are. Like if you get caught, you're out for the count. So I'm not going to say that it's not possible, but I just don't see. Alexander Usyk is just too good on his feet. Moves too fast for something like that. Great ring IQ as well. Honestly, like I don't even know what to expect. Like, could he knock Deontay out potentially?
Oh yeah, maybe distance, but he definitely can. But also, here's the thing too: Deontay Wilder's camps and his corner have been shitty throughout his career. Like you can tell, his training camps have not been great. The corners are not preparing him the best for these fights. It's just a very good athlete with amazing punching power with one hand, and he's gotten by as far as he can go. With that being said, if there's any adjustments in the fight, he's puzzled. He looks like he's looking at Excel. If y'all don't know about Excel, there's people out there who lie on their resume, talking about they know Excel. They get a spreadsheet thrown in front of them, and they walk out the interview. They don't know Excel. That's Deontay Wilder in round 5 when the boxer makes adjustments. He don't know what to do, and he's getting clocked repeatedly, and the fight's in jeopardy. Nah, man, I'm cool. I'm all the way good. And I like Deontay Wilder. I have nothing against him. I am not. I've enjoyed a lot of his fights over the years, but I've seen this story before. I've seen this movie before, and you're asking a guy that fights every 2 years basically to come back and fight the world heavyweight champion of the world. I'm cool, man. I don't need to see this shit. I'm cool. And I'm going to keep it a foot. I don't want to see a brother get knocked out in front of everybody. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't want to see that shit. I'll be honest with you. I don't want to see that. You can say that, man. Well, here's the thing. The second and third fight versus old boy was bad enough. All right, It was bad. Especially the third one was bad. You knew it was like knowing boxing. You know what a guy was. You know the guy's gonna try. You can tell. Like, hey man, This ain't good. This ain't good. And yeah, man, we don't need. And that was a couple years ago. We don't need to see this. There's nothing in this outside of a cash grab for Wilder. Nothing good. Yeah. So I'm cool. I mean, if they're gonna do it, they're gonna do it. But I'm cool.
Very Wilder 3, another one I saw in the movie theater. That was 2021. Holy crap, Jamieson.
It was 2021?
2021, according to this. Yeah, because that was October. I remember. That was just when things were like kind of opening up after the Rona.
Wow.
So yeah. Great night, really fun time watching that whole night of boxing in theater. I snuck in a bunch of little mini bottles of booze. There's a liquor store, like a drive-through liquor store by my place, and I went there and I said, "Hey man, can I get like 4 little bottles of like rum because I was going to mix it in my Coke Icy.
Mm-hmm,
And the guy
mm-hmm.
was like, hey man, if you just buy the whole bottle, it's cheaper, it's better for you. And all I said was, no man, I gotta go to and he goes, oh, you have to hide it. I got you. No worries.
Yep.
They know. I live in the ghetto. They know what's up.
It is a game. The game's a game. It's all good.
But yeah, the point is that was a really, really fun night of boxing, getting to see the theater. It was a great fight. But yeah, man, I'd be honest with you, I was surprised that Deontay Wilder even came back to fight again after the
Fury. Same, but the money's good, man. The boxing money is very good. I know someone who's on the other side of that one who was involved in the training for his opponent that fight, and the amount of money being talked about was very good for a short amount of time. Very, very good. So everybody in the picture was getting paid very, very good money. So I get why he came back. And hell, if you're gonna get $20 million, another $30 million to come back and fight in this economy, shit, you might as well, because you ain't getting that in 2 years. So if you got a chance to get it now, put your 8 weeks of training in and see what you got.
Yeah, the more I hear you talking about, the more I'm with you. I'm like, man, I don't give a shit about this fight.
Mm-hmm.
But it is how about this? It's a bigger deal that Usyk is coming back. Honestly, like I also would have expected him to retire after the Fury fight. So I don't know. I mean, another thing here that I want to do again is go through these rankings, and what's crazy more than anything is that, like, I see the only American names that I see that I know are like Deontay Wilder and Jared the Big Baby Anderson, who didn't come to, was hyped a lot but didn't come to much. And all these are, Britishes, like European guys. There's a guy named Michael Hunter I don't know who's American. I don't, if I've seen him fight, I don't know off the top of my head. But like the heavyweight class today is just like, it's puzzling to me. Like, I don't know who the next big star is, who's upcoming. People are trying to tell me that Richard Torres Jr. is a name to watch. I've seen him fight a bunch of cheeseburgers whenever he fights, so I don't really know what his skill set is. I saw him fight in person in Phoenix last year, and I'm sorry, he just fought a big fat guy. It was just a big fat guy, so a name I didn't know. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, do you have any thoughts about where the heavyweight boxing class is? And historically, it's dominated by American fighters, Black American fighters.
It's trash. It's trash. But a lot of big guys aren't fighting no more. A lot of guys are doing other sports. I mean, it's just not. It's hard convincing a person that is 6'5", 240 or above to fight. Like, there's other sports you can participate in. There's other ways to make money. It's not the old days anymore. So convincing someone to actually fight is it's not like it used to be. There's so many other options now. Even if you're 6'4", 210, if you're growing up now, you're kind of getting pushed into UFC before boxing these days in certain parts. So just the amount of options and things that people of the heavyweight stature have now is just way different than before. But also, boxing ain't marketed like that. Like, the heavyweight division has been marketed in like 4 years. But just in general, like, we don't, like I said, we don't know. I can't tell you the last heavyweight fight I've watched on TV.
Yeah, I missed Usyk versus Fury 2 because I was in California for a buddy's memorial. It passed away. And I was trying to find it, and I was literally calling sports bars out in California, San Luis Obispo, to see if anybody was playing the fight, and everybody's like, no, we don't do pay-per-views. I don't know if it wasn't popular enough that it wouldn't justify the cost. I don't know, but I wanted to watch the fight, and I had time after the memorial, but like I couldn't find it playing anywhere. I literally was at a bar after the memorial, like looking at the recaps on some website, like some British thing, like the Guardian or whatever, and was reading the round by round breakdown of the fight. So yeah, like I tried, and to be fair, we're talking about a town. San Luis Obispo is like seems to be kind of remote, smaller.
Yeah, that's not a boxing place. That's not a place that would have. Yeah, no.
Yeah, if I could have been to LA, if I was in LA, then I'm sure I could have found it anywhere.
Definitely.
So there's that. But yeah, that was kind of interesting. I was like, I have the time. I can go anywhere they're playing it. I don't have I was staying at a hotel, so I couldn't just pay-per-view it myself, But that was I mean, Usyk is kind of like the big name that has been
Yeah,
the most interesting, talented, big star in heavyweight that I've really cared about.
he's a
Otherwise,
big
yeah, it's
star everywhere but here, though. He's not a big star here.
no, but but most boxing fans, even people who are like not super into boxing, know. I think they know who Usyk is. Uh, Maybe if the
Mm.
casual fans, I don't know. I mean, and I think people knew who Tyson Fury was, but also because he just wouldn't shut the hell up, and it was
And
always talking
he
shit.
trained a lot here. Like
Mhm.
Tyson Fury was in the U.S. more, and I think he even fought in the States more than other guys. But with that being said, fighting Wilder 3 times was very big. I think all fights took place in the States, if I'm not mistaken.
I
Fight one was
believe
in
so.
LA. I remember that. I believe fight two was here in Vegas, if I'm not mistaken. So it's one of those things to where the cat, and he's a different cat, obviously. So his antics are being talked about, looked at differently, and by casual people and whatnot. So I can see that being a little bit different for him than other guys. With that being said, Deontay Wilder's in this for a check. He just turned 40. If you weren't good at making adjustments 10 years ago, you damn sure not going to be good at making adjustments at 40 plus, man. But I get it. If they give you 8 figures for the fight, you kind of got to take it. I don't blame them. I don't, but damn.
Sure. I mean, yeah. This. How about this one, Deontay? We love you. Definitely take the Usyk fight. Get your payday, then walk away, please. Like we don't need to keep doing this.
Yeah,
Hopefully you make
man.
enough money.
I hope your money's good. I don't like counting people's pockets. That's not my business. But I hope your money's straight because I don't want you to keep on taking these fights because they haven't been pretty. Like that's the thing; they have not been pretty. And again, like you said, the third Fury fight was in 21. We're about to be
Mhm.
5 years away from that, which is wild.
Yeah, so he did fight a couple of different people. Okay, let me
He
look this
did.
up because no, it was like names like Robert Helenius, who I kind of know.
Mm-hmm.
Joseph Parker, I know who that is. Zile Zhang. But here's the thing: after he took the L against Fury, he won against Helenius, but then he took 2 L's in a row,
Right.
and then we talked about this earlier this year. He knocked out Tyrell Anthony Herndon. Um, and that was I think he was on that streaming service. He talked about Black Prime, BLK Prime,
Yep. Yep.
that he was on. So it's I'm not gonna say as like I say he hasn't been active. He has like he's been more active than my fat ass has. I'm just saying that we haven't really hasn't fought big names. He hasn't been a draw. Like I missed most of them. Like, I remember him fighting Helenius. I'm pretty sure I saw that one, but there's 3 others that I just missed. You know what I mean? And again, I'm saying I like the
Right.
guy. So this is going to be
Never
his
mind. Wilder has
biggest
8 kids. He'll be fighting for a while.
48-year-old Wilder. Jesus Christ, poor bastard.
Yeah, he'll be fighting. If he got 8 kids, he'll be fighting for a minute. So, yeah,
So so we can say that this is his biggest fight against the biggest name since 2021. So
that is
and
correct.
some stuff in between. So I don't know. I'll watch it definitely. I was maybe a little bit more curious, I'll say, before we started this conversation. Now I'm like, like if I gotta pee, I'll just go pee whenever, if it's in the middle of the fight.
Man, look
But
here. He got 8 kids. He's gonna be fighting until he can't fight no more.
yeah,
That's why he
that's
accepted that fight, and he's married and divorced. There's child support involved. He's gonna be fighting for a while.
Jesus. Well,
8 kids is
it's
wild though, but that's neither here nor there.
we don't have kids. One kid is wild as far as I'm concerned.
My
Jesus.
eight's a basketball team. You can play a basketball game with 8. That's too damn big, man. That's too much.
That's true. The Wilder family basketball team.
Oh
Jesus,
yeah,
that's a good point. Yeah. Nope. I'm good on that. You want to talk about being good on something? It's good on having any kids,
yeah.
much less 8. Jesus. Well, let's. That's about the biggest things that were in the news for this coming year. Which, by the way, new year right around the corner. So,
Yep.
but yeah, let's switch gears. Move into our recurring segment called Pop Pugilism, in which we discuss a movie, TV show, or documentary about boxing. This was a very, very different movie, boxing adjacent, but I was really excited to talk about it because I think we can have a good conversation and tie it into a lot of stuff that we discuss on the show. One Night in Miami from 2020, directed by Regina King. The story is about, it's based on a play.
Mhm.
So the story is about Muhammad Ali back when he was still Cassius Clay. His mama named him Clay. People called him Clay at that time.
Yep.
Became a heavyweight champion against Sonny Liston in '63, and then met up with Malcolm X, Jim Brown, Sam Cooke, and a lot of conversations about race relations and race at the time. And yeah, this is a movie that I heard about, honestly, even more so than this movie being about Muhammad Ali. I was most interested in it because it was directed by Regina King. I didn't know that she directed a bunch of TV before this. This is her first
Right.
feature film. Always like Regina King. Always cool to see her show up and stuff. So I was interested here. The problem is, honestly, all these like straight to Prime Video, straight to Netflix stuff, man. Like I miss a lot of it. Even stuff I'm interested in because it flies under the radar. Sometimes they don't promote it; they just dump it there. And like I would have gone to see this in the movie theater. So there's a lot of stuff that I'm like, oh right, that damn movie that was in Netflix last year that I was interested in. But that's a whole other conversation. Before we get into this, I just want to ask you, Jamieson, had you heard about this movie? Had you seen it? It came out in 2020. What are your
Oh yeah,
thoughts
this
on
is a big
this?
deal. When it first came out, it was a big deal. It was a huge. Here's the thing: anything with Muhammad Ali in it is going to get instant attention. Good, bad, or ugly. Anything he's involved with, anything, whether it's one single fight, his career, pre and post ban, everything is going to get a lot of attention, and that's just how it always goes. So no, I remember when this came out. It was cool. It was cool. It was cool. I've seen a lot of different things when it comes up Muhammad Ali and Malcolm X and Jim Brown. Like at one point in time, during the '60s, they were all on the same team. They were all battling against certain things and all, had a lot of things in common. So it's interesting to see, basically 50 years later, someone kind of wrapping everything up in one and trying to portray it to the younger people who are not around or unknown about certain things. But no, very, very interesting though. But also a big part is this: race and boxing has always been a thing, and I think
100%.
that as a whole, we're never going to go away from that. Even not as black and white, but white versus Hispanic, black and Hispanic, Asian and white. Asian, like it's always going to be. Hell, underrated one is Asian and Mexican. That's a real underrated racial one that no one talks about, but that's a very, very big one. Very, very big one that people don't really mention a lot. But I just think that race and boxing carries the sport. Like it's basically what we pride ourselves on in these big matchups, and it's been like that since Jack Johnson's beginning of the 1900s to current day. I mean, the fact that we have certain guys, like for instance, I think if I'm not mistaken, Tank's biggest fight money wise is Ryan Garcia, if
Mm-hmm.
I'm not mistaken. And a big part of that is the two races that are involved. A big part of that is that. So it's just how it goes. So it's always fascinating to hear perspectives about how racial and sociology things were back in those times.
Yeah. Another reason I was excited to talk about this is because that's the whole basis of our show, Mixed Company Podcast. It's these issues of race and boxing that we said from the beginning. I've always said we're not afraid to have those difficult discussions, and we call out uh, racism in any area between fans of any types of fighters, any races of fighters. But really,
Mm-hmm.
here's the thing: I spent a long time. You and I we're almost 40. We're old men. We're washed, and I'm sure you've heard the same thing. We spent a lot of time being told, "Stop bringing race into everything. Stop bringing up race in everything. Putting race into everything where it doesn't belong." Blah blah blah. Bro, I don't know about you. I'm not the one that does that shit. Like, I'm just cool. I'm cool with everybody. Like, it's other people that are racist that are then bringing this, resentment against, Muhammad Ali being, the needing a great white hope to defeat Muhammad Ali, and not just him. Creating the movie Rocky because white fans were upset that black heavyweight fighters were dominating throughout 70s, 80s, 90s. Like again, yeah, you mentioned Jack Johnson from the early 1900s. Him being the first black heavyweight champion was the worst possible thing for white America. Like
That's correct.
they're fucking furious about it. It was a slap in the face. Like My man just wanted to be able to fight and fight the champ and get a chance to win the belt. But
Bingo.
you could, yeah, you can never just be a black heavyweight fighter at any time in the sport and not have the racial resentment come along with it. I'm just sorry, you just can't. And
Think
it's
about like
important to
this.
talk about.
Think about like this. Race and boxing is so crazy that in the 70s there was a bunch of black heavyweights beating up on white guys and dominating the division. That they made a fictional character that they're still making movie spinoffs of today. Think about that. 40 plus years later, the Rocky franchise is still in motion.
100%.
Tells you all you need to know.
Yeah. Now this movie to weave back and forth between these conversations. This movie, it's a bit of a Trojan horse because it starts off being about Muhammad Ali a lot, about boxing a lot, but then it every character in this gets their due, and they get to have a lot of interesting conversations about black men in America at that time and their places. So, for example, Sam Cooke was a musician. They call him the King of Soul, and Malcolm X gets into him for not doing enough for Black liberation, for not writing songs that are overtly political, just kind of writing, try to be popular. Sam Cooke comes back with, "Man, I'm making money. I have financial freedom. None of y'all do." Blah blah, and it's really really well written, really interesting, and I think very important to hear these different perspectives of like everybody's right in their own way because they're making very very good logical points about their place in the world, etc. And I want to get your take on this. It seems to be a little bit advanced racial history. It's not a 101 class because there's a lot of things they're throwing out there that, like at the beginning, Malcolm X is talking about his issues with the Nation of Islam and Louis X specifically. No indication, no explanation that that's Louis Farrakhan, who he is, what that was. He just kind of, it just throws you in the world. And there's some stuff, I'm not the biggest expert on racial history, but I know some stuff. I paid attention in school.
Right,
I also watch a lot of movies. So, but it seemed like if you don't know at least some of this history of racial politics and Malcolm X and background, like you might be a little lost. What was your thought on that?
Yeah, I mean, there was a complicated situation because Malcolm X was the person that was learning a lot of different things and incorporating a lot of his learnings into life choices. So when you're constantly evolving as a person, when you one day you might think something is the way of life, and then you learn something different that might change that ideology, then yeah, you might try to explain that to other people and try to change your life quickly as possible or ways of thinking quickly as possible. So when you have that and you're involved with other people's lives, there's a lot going on. So I totally understand what was going on, and especially back then, a lot of things were changing at the same time. We didn't have the information we have today. There's no YouTube. There's no, so a lot of the information people were getting, they were getting in a way to where what they got, really couldn't double check or fact check or anything like that. What they got, they made a decision, they rolled with it, and that's what it was. So when things happen like that, a lot of decisions were made. Some were kind, some weren't. That's just how it went.
Yeah, I think it did a really good job of like every character had an important moment and got to speak their piece and sort of make a case for their belief system, their philosophy. Really cool moments. Even something very fascinating. Jim Brown having a discussion with Malcolm X about how Malcolm X is black but more light skinned, and that being something like a privilege in and of itself. That's something that I would ever say. That opinion that I would have, or don't know enough to speak on that. But that is something that is in there, and the discussion is pertaining. And it's like fascinating to hear and learn. And colorism is a big deal. Like that's a thing.
Right.
There's even for me, like like I'm brown as hell and Mexican, but like there are natives or indigenous Mexican people who are dark, and those folks get. I feel that I'm more safe from racism than those folks are. You know what I mean? The differences in skin tone are even brought up, and it's amazing. It's an amazing thing to see, and all the performances were great. Absolutely got to give a shout out to this young guy, Eli Gorey, who played Muhammad Ali, or Cassius Clay rather. Didn't know who this guy was. He'd done a couple of movies and a bunch of TV I'd never seen. thought it was totally awesome. I don't know what you thought about his portrayal of Muhammad Ali. We've seen a lot of it now over the years, but I think he's one of my favorites. What did you think?
Oh, very good. Very, very good. Been a lot of Muhammad Ali interpretations over the last 20, 30 years that we've seen in movies, but no, he did very well. Did very, very well. And also, just to be honest with you, I mean, things were so different back then. So getting perspectives back then and how things are now, it's like night and day. So it's very fascinating. But no, it's very, very good. Like very, very good film. It's always Muhammad Ali is one of those people that you can make a piece of art off a lot of different sections of his career. And it's very interesting when you do that because there's so many angles you can come approach it from. Like the racial aspect is something that you don't even think of until like probably the fourth or fifth thing when it comes to him. So that's how you know you really got somebody you can really dig deep and provide a lot of great content from.
Sure, yeah, and the portrayal of this actor's portrayal of him was felt very natural. I did like that Ali movie that Michael Mann did. I love Michael Mann. Will Smith, I think, did a decent job, but it sounded forced. Like he sounded like he was doing a Muhammad Ali impression, and I could not extricate Will Smith from the character. I couldn't. They didn't blend together for me. This guy did a great job. Could also be that, like I said, he is lesser known. See a lot of different sides of Muhammad Ali, not just the boastful kind of like, braggadocious, really funny, outgoing, but also more quiet moments, praying with Malcolm X. You got to see a lot of just a very, very nuanced portrayal, which I thought was great. Biggest question here is, would this movie be worth watching for boxing fans? I mean, like I said, boxing isn't really, really at the forefront, especially not after the first third. What are your thoughts on that?
I think it's worth it because, to be honest with you, here's the thing. We're about to come upon a time where there's nothing on TV right now. Between now and like the first week of January, ain't shit on TV. Might as well give yourself a couple hours, let it go, and learn something. Well, ain't nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, if you got Amazon Prime, it's on there. It's a direct to Prime Video movie, so if you can put it on. Most people do have Prime, so yeah. And this show we rate movies out of 4 gloves. What would you give One Night in Miami from 2020?
3.5. 3.5. Yeah.
Nice. I'd go 3.75.
Okay. Fair enough.
Yeah, there's a lot of elements here. Race relations and history that, like I said, I know a little bit about. Not an expert by any means, but very enlightening for me, and learned a lot about just something more about race relations in the '60s and how people saw themselves in the movement. And yeah, really cool. Very much a talk movie. So there's not a lot of action here, but like I said, it's based on a play, so that's it's all based mostly on one set, but very interesting. And yeah, I think at the end of the day, the best thing to say is learn something. Put on if you're not going to read a book, that's cool. Put on a movie and learn something, right?
Right.
Yeah. And check out Spike Lee's Malcolm X, available in 4K from the Criterion Collection. I got that on the shelf in the living room. So cool. All right, Jamieson. Before we wrap up, where can people find you on social media?
On Twitter at the Jamieson. Man, boxing's been weird the last few weeks, but got some stuff coming at the beginning of the year. It's gonna be fun. We got a big fight coming up. My guy Richardson Hitchens is on the card of the Shakur Teofimo Lopez card. He's I believe not the co-main event, but he's the card before that one. So that should be good. But no, it's gonna be. We got some. Starting the year off right. Hopefully, we maintain that for 12 straight months. There's enough fighters and enough venues and enough money to make this work for 12 straight months. So can't wait.
Absolutely. Yep. I'm optimistic. So yeah, let's see what happens. Make sure you follow our show on Twitter, Instagram, and Blue Sky. All those handles are at Mixed Co Podcast. Subscribe to the show on Apple, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and Amazon Music. Please leave us a 5-star review. It only takes a minute and helps out more than you can possibly know. Watch us on YouTube. Look at these handsome mugs. The link is on the show notes, and find our playlist on the 19 Media Group channel. We have an official show email address. If you have any questions for the mailbag, fun stories about watching boxing in mixed company, send it all to letters@mixedcopodcast.com. Don't forget, we drop episodes every other Thursday. So please join us again. Our next one is going to be January 1st, 2026. So we'll be having a end of the year recap show. We have been the Mixed Company Podcast, a 19 Media Group production. Thank you so much for listening, and salud.